Modern music just doesn't hit the way it used to, right? If you've ever found yourself wondering, why does everything modern sound the same? Why is all modern music awful? This video is for you. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, why do we like the music that we like, and why don't we like the music that we don't like, especially modern music? Now, this is a complicated topic, but at the same time, it's fairly simple. So we're not exactly going to do a deep dive, but we're also not going to do a shallow dive. We're going to do a middle dive into music psychology to figure out why you like the music that you do and why you don't like the music that you don't. If you're an old man like me, you probably find yourself listening to the same music that you listened to when you were in high school. Well, that's perfectly normal. Happens all the time. And there's a few reasons for that, and it all comes down to music psychology. What is music? Why do we like music? Well, it comes down to a couple of things: memories and emotions. Music we tie in with memories, whether they're good or bad, happy or sad, and emotions too. It's all tied together. So our teen years are so crucial. We got hormones flowing around. We got emotions riding high, and during those years, our memories and our minds are just forming all kinds of memories and like crazy with all these emotions and anchoring all the songs and stuff that we like to that. So for the rest of our lives, our teens, the music that we were listening to in our teens that has all these strong emotional anchors are what we end up listening to for the rest of our lives. Now, some people, like myself, am always on the hunt for new music. I listen to all kinds of new stuff, trap, pop, all kinds of hip hop, new rock, metal, everything. And you name it, I listen to it. But most people aren't like that. Most people kind of stop listening to new music once they hit about the age of 20. And I've seen this in countless friends and family, and it's just like they hit 20 and it's like, oh, I no longer have any interest in new music. I'm just going to listen to the same shit I've been listening to for the past 10 years, for the next 50 years. And, it's interesting. It's such a foreign idea to me, which is why I find it so fascinating. Like I said, I'm always looking for new music. Is there a lot of bad music out there? Modern music? Tons of terrible music out there. But if you look for it, there's some really great artists out there, in all kinds of genres too: punk, hardcore, metal, underground, hip hop. There's even some underground like popish stuff that I like. A lot of folk and country and bluegrass and jazz and blues. You name it. There's so much good music out there, but you're not going to see it or on TV. You're not going to hear it on most Spotify suggested playlists. That's all major label stuff, which does all sound the same. It's all incredibly formulaic and it is incredibly boring. And that's why as people get older, they lose interest in it because it's the same thing over and over again. Like if you listen to pop songs for the past 20, 30 years, on them from like the Billboard top 10 or 20 or whatever, they're pretty much the same. They're in the same tempos. They use the same keys, the same chord changes, the same lyrical themes. Everything about it is the same. Why? Because it works. So label just keep cranking them, cranking them, cranking it out. But to people like me that are 150,000 years old, we've been around long enough to see how repetitive and boring it is. But if you're a teenager, you haven't been listening to these same poppy tunes, formulaic songs over and over again for years or decades. So pop music is new to you, and that's why it's popular, because it is new and a lot of people like it, and it's ear candy. It's catchy, it's got hooks, it's got all that stuff, and it's new. It's a lot of music is about novelty. It's funny because it's half about novelty, but it's half about expectations. If music is too novel, we don't like it. But if it's too formulaic, we also don't like it. So it needs to be somewhat formulaic, but it also has to have some novelty too. And that's why popular music, as people get older, it's all the same. It gets boring, and even more boring as you get older, which is why I love to look for underground music in a variety of different genres. But another thing is music. We often don't like music because of the music itself. And it took me a long time to wrap my head around this as a multi instrumentalist. I've been a musician since I was 7 years old. And people don't listen to music because they like the music. They listen to the music because of the way it makes them feel. They listen to the music because of the time in their life. They listen to the music because of the people around them that listen to that music. And they listen to music for a lot of psychosocial reasons. Um, Not so much because they like the song, but because their friend likes the song and turned them on to it, or because they've heard the song 100,000 times in a show that they like, or it reminds them of that, or whatever. Most people like music because it reminds them of an emotion, of a time in their life, of another person, of this, of that, but not the music itself. Generally, musicians, um, musicians and a very small amount of people listen to music for the music. But most people, this is another thing that surprised me. I didn't learn this for a long time, but most people, when they hear a song for the first time, pay attention to the lyrics more than the music. And me, I'm the exact opposite. There are songs I've heard 1,000 times that I don't know a single word to, but I love them because I love the music. So I just listen to them over and over again, and the words just kind of go in one ear and out the other. I don't really pay attention. But most people, when they hear a song for the first time, they're listening to the lyrics and the words, the vocals. Whereas I'm listening to the music primarily. I might not even catch a single word. So that's another interesting fact. So we all listen to music differently. We all process it differently, experience it differently, enjoy it differently. But at the end of the day, we all enjoy it for the same reason, because it makes us feel something. It's what music's all about. That's why AI music is going to fail miserably. Like, it's cool now. It's novel. It's novel and interesting, and it's hella cool that a machine can make music that sounds almost human. But music is a human endeavor. It's all about emotion. And machines can't emote yet. They can pretend to, but they can't actually do it. So they can pretend to write music, but they can't actually write music because they don't have the underlying emotions that's necessary to create music. Um, you can make chord structures, you can even write lyrics and stuff, but if it's not coming from someone with emotions, in my opinion, it's not really music. I'm not sure what it is because, like, I'm not a hater. Like, I think AI music is super cool. I love the idea of being able to be like, I want a song that sounds just like Nirvana in 1991 with Kurt Sutz's voice and blah 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 blah, and then have it just spit it out, and that's awesome. That seems so cool to me. But but I don't think it's going to replace human musicians, like so many people are saying, are worried about, oh, AI's blah, 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 blah. Who gives a shit? Just, it's not like human musicians are going anywhere. You're not going to go see Chat GPT play at a bar, are you? Or at a club? No, of course not. That's why human musicians will always be around. But I'm getting a little bit off the rails here. We're talking about why humans like human music and why they often stop liking new music as they get older. And a lot of that, a lot of it's biochemical too. Like I alluded to earlier. When you're in your teens, you got testosterone and estrogen just off the charts, dopamine flying around. You got your emotions are high. You got all that stuff going on, and all that leads to enhanced emotional experiences, that you really feel strongly. I mean, I I think back to my teens, and it was just a roller coaster of emotions, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was constantly listening to music that enhanced that backed up those feelings, whether it was anger or sadness or some other negative emotion, because that's basically all I experienced as a teenager. But lots of that stuff. But then once you're done with puberty, your body kind of levels out, stables out as you get into your 20s, and you become a boring person. So does your musical tastes. Sorry, but it happens to the best of us. As you get into your 20s, you kind of stop trying new things and you just settle into the same music. You like the same music, the same books, the same shows, the same entertainment, the same foods. You tend to just, whoever you are at 20 is more or less who you are for the rest of your life. For most people, not everybody is like that. Some people are constantly trying to improve and evolve, and um, more power to those people, but they're rare. Most people just kind of get locked into whatever, and whoosh, that's the rest of their life. And music is no different. Um, Now, of course, people still find music that they like as they get older, and they can get turned on to new things. But it's usually it's not like when we're younger. And it's funny that the music that we like when we were a teenager, we tend to think is the best music in the world. Like, I was a teenager in the 90s. Like 90% of my 99% of my teens took place in the 90s. And I thought the 60s and 70s were the best generation for music. I really did, because I grew up in the 90s. Now, my son, who's 18, he thinks the 90s were the best because he grew up in the 2010s and 20s. And so he, and it's funny, and like, and my dad thinks music from the 50s. We always think that the music of yesteryear was better, or we often think that. And it's interesting because, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. You can't say this music from the 60s was better than music from the 90s. Well, there was some pretty bad music in the 60s. And there's some pretty great music in the 90s. So it depends on what we're talking about. There's also tons of amazing music in the 60s and mountains of horrible, horrible music in the 90s. So it goes both ways. But the music, the music that we listen to as a teen, in our teens, tends to shape the music we listen to for the rest of our lives. That's perfectly normal, but um, it's not optimal, in my opinion. You want to constantly be exploring everything. I think that's what life's all about. It's about trying new things, learning how to do new things, meeting new people, interesting people. Just constantly trying to do that, and to limit yourself to one type of music for the rest of your life is just honestly, I think it's kind of sad. Like on the one hand, I understand it, and I'm not trying to judge anybody. If you like what you like, and you should make no apologies for that. But I also think it's great to constantly be trying to explore new music, explore even if you're stuck on a certain genre. Say you just like rock, you like metal. There's some really kick-ass new metal bands out there. I don't mean like new metal. I mean new as in have come out in the past 5 or 10 years. Same with punk, same with every genre. There's so much good music, but you kind of have to go digging for it because there's so much just crappy music being forced down your throat. And now it's just even worse with AI slop just getting thrown down everybody's throat. But there's tons and tons and tons and tons of good music out there, and I really encourage you to look for it. And when you find good music that you like, if you're in a position to do so, help support the artist that made it. If they're a small underground artist, they're struggling and they're just coming up or whatever. If they're on a big label, fuck them. Don't give them anything. But if they're a new artist that you really like, give them a donation, buy one of their CDs, buy some merch, go to one of their shows, or just share their stuff with people you like. You know. And another thing is that I've always, everyone I meet, every time I meet someone new, I always ask for some music suggestions. Always, 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 always on the hunt for new music. And you never know what you're gonna hear. I ask people at the gym. I ask people everywhere. Every time I meet somebody, I ask what they listen to, and if they could just recommend one or two artists to me, who they would be, and or one or two songs or whatever. And I'm just always finding stuff that I like. Now, the truth is, the vast majority of stuff that I come across now sucks. I don't like it. Just most stuff that people recommend to me, unless they're like a friend that knows my musical taste, sucks, and I don't like it. But I'm glad I listened to it. I'm always happy to check out new stuff. So I encourage you to always be looking for new music because you never know what you're going to find. You never know what you're going to like. And you never know. You might find something that turns you on to a whole new genre or artist or whatever that you absolutely love, and it could literally change your life. So that's I think I'll wrap it up there for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll be making a lot more videos like this where I just pick a topic and kind of about music and just kind of ramble. I'll be doing educational stuff. I'll be doing commentary. I'll be doing opinion, just all kinds of stuff. Just me sitting here talking, and I hope you enjoy it. Till next time, be well.